Nobody is buying these luxury sneakers anymore, and retailers are starting to panic. Pairs that once sold out in hours and pulled instant resale premiums are now sitting on shelves for months. Prices are being cut quietly, stores are overstocked, and the brands built on hype and exclusivity are watching their sneaker lines collapse in real time. This is not a seasonal dip. It is a warning for anyone who buys designer footwear at full price. Today, we reveal 10 luxury shoes that have gone from status items to retail deadweight. And number 1 is the most shocking. Number 10. Gucci Ace sneakers. Let us start with a name that once defined luxury streetwear. Number 10. Gucci Ace sneakers. For years, the Ace was everywhere. Red carpets, airport terminals, Instagram feeds. That clean white leather, the signature web stripe, the embroidered bees and stars. It was the sneaker that told the world you had taste, and the wallet to back it up. At its peak, the Gucci Ace was not just a shoe, it was a statement. It was the entry point into a world that millions of people desperately wanted access to. But something shifted. Gucci's parent company, Kering, reported a staggering 25% sales drop in early 2025. The brand has cycled through creative directors, and the identity crisis has bled into every product category, including footwear. Walk into a Gucci boutique today, and you will notice something unsettling. Sizes are sitting, traffic is down, the frenzy is gone. The Ace's problem is simple: oversaturation. When a sneaker becomes too visible, too predictable, too safe, the wealthy stop wanting it. Retail partners now report slow sell-through, with certain sizes lingering on shelves for months unless quietly marked down. Resale platforms tell the same story. Ace sneakers that once fetched premiums are now being listed below retail and still not moving. In luxury, when everyone has it, no one wants it. And that is exactly where the Gucci Ace finds itself today. The Ace faded from overexposure. The next sneaker fell for a reason nobody saw coming. Number 9. Balenciaga Triple S. When the Triple S launched in 2017, it did not just enter the market, it detonated. That monstrous, layered sole, the intentionally ugly aesthetic, the $895 price tag that somehow made people want it more. The Triple S became the face of the chunky sneaker revolution, and Balenciaga rode that momentum straight to the top of List's hottest brand index. Fashion critics debated whether it was genius or grotesque. Consumers did not care. They just wanted a pair. But trends are brutal. The chunky sneaker era that the Triple S helped create eventually turned against it. Fashion moved towards sleeker silhouettes, minimalist profiles, and quiet luxury. Suddenly, those towering soles looked less avant-garde and more yesterday. Then came the controversy. In late 2022, Balenciaga faced massive backlash over Adi, campaigns that sparked international outrage. The brand plummeted from the number 4 spot on List's index to number 18 within a single quarter. Kering's financial documents confirmed what insiders already knew. Sales suffered, especially in the United States. Now, the Triple S is a cautionary tale. Retailers are struggling to move leftover pairs at anything close to retail. Resale platforms show listings marked down 60, 70, even 90%. The shoe that once defined a movement now sits as a reminder that hype fades fast when controversy and trend fatigue collide. The Triple S burned out fast. The next pair did not burn at all. It was left behind while the market moved forward. Number 8. Alexander McQueen oversized sneakers. In the late 2010s, the Alexander McQueen oversized sneaker was the minimalist luxury shoe. That exaggerated sole, the clean leather upper, the subtle logo. It was designer without being loud. Celebrities wore them. Influencers coveted them. At its peak, this single silhouette accounted for more than 40% of the brand's total revenue. That is an astonishing number, and an incredibly dangerous one. But here is what happens when a brand puts all its weight on one product. When that product cools, everything collapses. McQueen's oversized sneaker did not fail because of poor craftsmanship. It failed because fashion moved on and the brand did not have a backup plan. Today, Kering reports that McQueen's annual revenues have fallen from over 800 million euros at their height to below 200 million. The company is closing stores, eliminating dozens of headquarters roles, and pulling men's collections from the runway entirely. Shoppers are no longer willing to pay full price for a design that feels dated. What once looked fresh now reads as predictable. Department stores report that sizes sit for extended periods, and markdowns have become the only reliable path to clearing inventory. The McQueen oversized sneaker is not dead, but it is no longer alive in the way that matters. And when a shoe loses its cultural pulse, the price tag becomes impossible to justify. McQueen relied on one silhouette for too long. The next brand struggled because the design never matched what buyers wanted. Number 7. Christian Louboutin spiked sneakers. There was a time when Louboutin's spiked sneakers were impossible to ignore. Covered in metal studs, finished with that signature red sole, they screamed status. Musicians wore them on stage, athletes flashed them courtside. For a certain crowd, these shoes were the ultimate flex. They announced your presence before you even spoke a word. But the fashion world has shifted dramatically. According to Business of Fashion, interest in Louboutin's spiked sneakers has since waned. The brand's men's business is actually growing, but it is being driven by classic dress shoes with the red sole, not the flashy, studded sneakers that once dominated. The problem is aesthetic. In an era obsessed with quiet luxury and minimalist design, a shoe covered in metal spikes feels like a relic of a different decade. The novelty that once made them desirable now makes them feel excessive. Heavy. Try hard. Customers are no longer paying premium prices for footwear that clashes with the dominant visual language of 2025. Walk through resale platforms, and you will find Louboutin spiked sneakers listed well below their original retail, often struggling to find buyers even at steep discounts. The red sole still carries weight. But when it is attached to a silhouette, the market has moved past. Even that iconic flash of crimson cannot save the sale. Louboutin stayed loud while the world went quiet. The next sneaker went even louder, and customers backed off instantly. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss these luxury deep dives. Number 6. Versace Chain Reaction Sneakers. When Versace launched the Chain Reaction in 2018, it was pure maximalism. That chunky chain link-inspired sole, the bold colorways, the unmistakable Medusa and Greeka motifs. Rapper 2 Chainz collaborated on the launch, and for a moment, the sneaker captured the attention of anyone who wanted their footwear to make noise. It was brash, it was confident, it was everything Versace stood for. But making noise is not the same as making sales. Not anymore. The Chain Reaction was built for an era of logos and excess. It arrived just as fashion was beginning its pivot towards subtlety, muted tones, and understated elegance. The timing could not have been worse. As quiet luxury took hold, Versace's loudest sneaker became its hardest sell. Today, retailers are drowning in unsold sizes. The Chain Reaction that once retailed for over $1,100 can now be found on consignment sites for under $200. In some cases, under $100. These are not minor markdowns. This is clearance-level desperation. Versace's parent company, Capri Holdings, has reported significant revenue declines, and the footwear category has been hit especially hard. The Chain Reaction is not just struggling. It is being liquidated. In luxury, loud only works when people want to listen. Right now, nobody is listening to Versace's sneakers. Versace struggled by shouting in a quiet moment. The next brand tried the same approach with even less success. Number 5. Dolce & Gabbana Daymaster. Sneakers. The Daymaster was supposed to be Dolce & Gabbana's answer to the luxury sneaker boom. It had the chunky sole, it had the mixed materials, it had the bold DG branding, and those signature maximalist prints the house is known for. On paper, it checked every box. It looked like a sure thing. Early campaigns pushed it heavily, and stylists featured it in countless editorials, hoping to position it as the next big statement shoe. In reality, the Daymaster landed at exactly the wrong cultural moment. Dolce & Gabbana has faced its own brand perception challenges in recent years, and those issues have compounded the sneaker's struggles. But even setting reputation aside, the Daymaster simply does not align with current consumer taste. The bold prints feel dated. The chunky silhouette reads as leftover inventory from a trend cycle that ended years ago. Younger shoppers in particular see it as a reminder of an era they have already moved past. Private discounts have become the only reliable method for moving stock. Luxury retailers are offering the Daymaster at 60, even 70% off, but even at those prices, sell-through remains sluggish. The shoes are not flying off shelves. They are being pushed off. Some boutiques have resorted to quiet client outreach, hoping loyal customers will take pairs simply to reduce storage space. Dolce & Gabbana built its empire on drama, on Baroque excess, on being unapologetically over the top. But in the sneaker market of 2025, that formula has stopped working. The customers who might have once embraced the Daymaster's maximalism are now buying minimalist runners from brands that whisper instead of shout. The Daymaster was designed to make a statement. Unfortunately, that statement no longer resonates. Dolce & Gabbana fell out of sync. The next sneaker never got in sync at all. Number 4. Saint Laurent Court Classic. Sneakers. On the surface, the Court Classic should have been a winner. Clean leather upper, minimal branding, a classic silhouette that nodded to tennis heritage without screaming designer. It was Saint Laurent's answer to the luxury minimalist sneaker, and for a while, it held its own. Shoppers appreciated the simplicity, and stylists used the shoe as a safe, versatile option that could pair with nearly anything. But here is the problem. The Court Classic entered a category with brutal competition, and it never established a clear identity. Common projects offered similar aesthetics at lower prices. Golden Goose brought intentional distressing and cult status, and newer entrants like Koyo and Oliver Cabell captured the direct-to-consumer market with comparable quality. The Court Classic got lost in the noise. Saint Laurent's Court Classic was fine, but fine does not command $700 price tags, not when alternatives exist at every tier. Even loyal Saint Laurent clients began prioritizing ready-to-wear pieces and leather goods, leaving sneakers as an afterthought rather than a must-have. The result has been predictable. Elevated prices pushed buyers to wait for sales rather than purchase at full retail. Markdowns have become frequent, and resale platforms show Court Classics moving slowly even at discounted rates. According to List, the sneakers are now available at up to 50% off through various retailers. Business of Fashion recently noted that the luxury sneakers resonating with customers today are low-profile, neutral-tone styles from brands like Brunello Cucinelli and Zegna. The Court Classic technically fits that description, but it lacks the heritage cachet those names carry. Sometimes being good is not enough. In a crowded market, you need to be irreplaceable. The Court Classic never achieved that status, and now it is paying the price. Saint Laurent disappeared into the crowd. The next entry showed up after the crowd had already gone home. Number 3. Fendi Match Sneakers. The Fendi Match is a relatively recent addition to the luxury sneaker landscape, which makes its struggles even more concerning. Launched as Fendi's modern take on the athletic sneaker, the Match featured the house's signature FF pattern, leather and suede construction, and a compact runner silhouette. It was positioned as a versatile option for the fashion-conscious consumer. The craftsmanship was there. The design was solid. But none of that mattered. Even early adopters who praised the build quality admitted the silhouette felt familiar rather than fresh. But the match landed in a market that had already moved on. Sales of contemporary and designer sneakers at major U.S. department stores dropped 21% in 2024 compared to the previous year, according to market research firm Circana. Compared to 2022, that decline reaches 37%. The luxury sneaker category that once seemed unstoppable is now in full contraction. Fendi's timing was terrible. Consumers are gravitating toward heritage sportswear brands and affordable performance styles, not new luxury entries trying to capture a trend that already peaked. The match, despite its quality and design credentials, arrived too late to the party. Retailers are already resorting to under-the-table markdowns to move inventory. Friends and family sales, private client offers, the quiet discounting tactics that brands use when they cannot publicly admit a product is not selling. The match is beautiful, it is well made, and it is not connecting with the audience it was designed for. In fashion, timing is everything. The Fendi match missed its window. The Fendi match missed the moment. The next sneaker created its moment, then watched the world move past it. Number 2. Prada Cloud Bust Sneakers. When Prada introduced the Cloud Bust, it felt like a glimpse into tomorrow. That sculptural sole with its three-dimensional rubber textures, the bold Velcro strap replacing traditional laces. The silhouette looked like something pulled from a science fiction film, and for a moment, fashion embraced the vision. It was daring. It was different. It was the kind of risk only a house like Prada could take. Stylists used it to signal forward-thinking taste, and early adopters treated it like wearable art. But the future has a way of becoming the past faster than anyone expects. The Cloud Bust debuted in 2017, and by 2019, the Thunder variant pushed the aesthetic even further into experimental territory. Retailers initially struggled to keep them in stock. The shoes were conversation starters, statement pieces that demanded attention. Today, that same statement reads as outdated. The futuristic chunky sneaker moment has been replaced by streamlined runners, heritage silhouettes, and the sort of quiet elegance that does not need sculptural soles to make an impression. Consignment platforms tell the story clearly. Prada Cloud Bust models that originally retailed for $850 to $1,200 are now being listed at fractions of those prices. The Real shows pairs marked down 50, 70, even 90% off estimated retail, and they are still sitting. Some sellers have relisted the same pairs for months without movement, a sign that demand has collapsed entirely. Prada itself has pivoted. The brand's recent hit, the Collapse sneaker, embraces the minimalist low-profile trend that currently dominates. The Cloud Bust, meanwhile, has been left behind, a relic of a design direction the market no longer wants. Innovation only works when the audience is ready for it. The Cloud Bust was ahead of its time. Now it is simply behind. The Cloud Bust's futuristic vision became yesterday's news, but nothing on this list compares to the collapse we are about to cover. Number 1. Balenciaga Speed Trainers. This is the biggest fall on the list. The sneaker that seemed destined to redefine luxury footwear is now one of the hardest shoes to sell at anything close to full price. And the story of how it got here is a masterclass in how quickly fortune can reverse in the world of fashion. When the Balenciaga Speed Trainer launched in late 2016, publications called it the shoe of 2017. The design was revolutionary. A stretch knit upper that fit like a sock. A molded sole with technology the brand called no memory. It was virtually weightless. It was impossibly sleek. And it was everywhere. Kim Kardashian wore them. Future wore them. Gucci Mane wore them. The Speed Trainer became shorthand for a certain kind of modern luxury, the intersection of comfort, technology, and status. At its peak, it represented everything Balenciaga was doing right under Demna's creative direction. Then, everything unraveled. The 2022 ad campaign controversy hit Balenciaga harder than almost any brand crisis in recent fashion history. The company fell from the top tier of industry rankings practically overnight. Celebrities publicly distanced themselves. Stores that had been packed went quiet. And the product most associated with Balenciaga's streetwear dominance, the Speed Trainer, became collateral damage. But the scandal alone does not explain the collapse. The Speed Trainer was already showing signs of fatigue before the controversy. Oversaturation had turned the once exclusive silhouette into a common sight. The market was moving toward different aesthetics, and Balenciaga had not evolved the design meaningfully in years. Now, the Speed Trainer sits at the center of a retail crisis. Consignment sites show listings at 90% off retail. Private sales and VIP discounts have become the norm rather than the exception. One sales associate told a fashion publication that moving Balenciaga inventory, especially pieces associated with the scandal era, remains extremely difficult even years later. The Speed Trainer is not just struggling. It represents the complete collapse of demand for a product that once defined an entire category. When luxury becomes too available, too associated with controversy, too tied to a moment that has passed, there is no recovery. There is only clearance. So what does this list really tell us? That luxury sneakers are not immune to the forces reshaping fashion. The chunky silhouettes that dominated the late 2010s have been replaced by sleeker, quieter alternatives. The logo-heavy excess that once signaled status now signals something else entirely. And the brands that failed to evolve, that relied too heavily on single products, that got caught in controversy or simply missed the cultural shift, are paying the price. The sneaker market is not dying, but it is changing. The shoes that move today are the ones that whisper instead of shout. The ones with heritage, with subtlety, with craftsmanship that does not need a 3-inch sole to prove its worth. The brands on this list built their empires on hype. Now hype has moved on, and they are left with warehouses full of shoes that nobody wants anymore. If this countdown surprised you, let me know in the comments which brand shocked you the most.